Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Chat EbT. I'm your host, Mohamed Ebrahim Tayob. My next guest has taken a deliciously big bite of the food blogging scene. His reviews are taking the world by storm due to his feast for enthusiasm and, most importantly, his passion for food. Please help me in welcoming Riyadh Mohamed, or is he more commonly known as the Gimba Express?
Thanks, EBT. You actually tricked me, right? I thought I'm coming here for food review, and now you got me here for interview.
Well, I had to get you here somehow, right?
I'm so honored to be here. It's so fantastic. I can't tell you how honored am I to be here and to sit with your viewers and share my story. It's been such an amazing journey, and things are just happening. There's so many things around me. I can't wait to talk about it.
No, lovely, man. Okay, so as you mentioned, you can't wait, so let's just dive right in, right? So first and foremost, I gotta ask you, the Gimba Express. It's a really unique name. I'm sure there's a story behind it. Tell us about that.
Yeah, and I think there's so many people that are asking me where the Gimba Express came from. So when I was younger, my mom is from Tonga. She's from Durban. We got a lot of South African culture in our family because we were born and brought up here. And it's a Tonga, or I'm going to say Tonga or Nkosa slang for somebody that actually eats a lot. And when I was younger, I was like thin like a stick, right? And I used to do a lot of exercise, but I used to eat a lot of food. So they used to call me Gimba. It's a playful, teasing name. They used to call me Gimba. And through the years, I mean, every time they used to see me eating a lot, they used to call me Gimba. It was an occasion. And there was actually 4 names that were there, right? So when I started off, it wasn't actually a food review channel first. And what I did is I thought about 4 names, and let me see the ones that I can remember. The first one was a plate cleaner. And I said, okay, if I go with a plate cleaner, people are going to be thinking, hey, guy, can you come and wash my plates? And I think that's not going to work. The next one was a belly buster. And I had this whole thing, I was going to be like, if there's good food in your neighborhood, what are you going to call? A belly buster, right? and that was like just like too corny. The third one was a chow guy, and that was just like more of a sophisticated one. And then eventually I had one more. I think I was going to settle on the belly buster. And I've just been thinking, so there was 2 things that I wanted from the name. I wanted it to be relevant and about me and embodying me. And the second, I wanted it to be South African and relatable. And I'm sitting in the bed at 11 o'clock at one night, and I just thought, hey, the guys called me Gimba. And the Gimba Express came to me in that second. And I just knew at that point in time, that's something that just fits all the criteria. I'm proudly South African, and that's the name I'm going with. And I went with it, and it just took the world by storm. It was like so amazing.
No, that's brilliant, man. And it's funny, like a lot of the times, similar with the podcast as well, I sat for so long trying to figure out the name. But when you finally get it, like you said, it came in an instant. You just know it's the right one, and then you just ran with it. Brilliant. Correct. So obviously, you mentioned, right? You have a really big passion for food. You've always been a big eater. Where would you say your passion for food started?
Yeah. So firstly, my passion for food started off when I was very young. I grew up in an Indian household. My mom is an amazing cook. I mean, she used to cook this chicken curries that was so succulent. The melt in your mouth mutton curry, the creamy chicken a la King's. And I used to love food. But my mother, I'll just let you guys know, she was a Hitler. She'd make Hitler look like a scared schoolgirl, right? She was very strict. So I wasn't allowed to eat out food a lot. Maybe I used to eat once a week. My grandparents were there. When I used to go with them, it used to be like your party for me, right? And you always want things that you can't eat, right? And I remember going once with my grandfather to KFC, and I was like, no, I want 5 burgers. And he's like, no, you can't eat 5 burgers. I'm not buying you 5 burgers. So he just bought me the 1 meal. And I told myself, when I actually get bigger and I start working, I get my own money, I'm going to come to KFC, I'm going to order 20 burgers, and I'm going to eat all of them. And I didn't do that. I didn't do that. And with that, through the years, right, I was served amazing food at home. And as I got bigger, I just took a liking through to fast food because I didn't have it when you were small. It was a forbidden thing that was there. And I just went for it. And I think that was also one of the problems, and I'll share with you guys later why I got myself into so much of trouble eating fast food. Like I think like most of you guys out there.
No, that's brilliant. So one of the topics that we've covered a lot on the show, right, is pivoting either in your career or later in life, right? So just give us a little bit about a background about what you do for a living, because you only started this very recently, right? And tell us a little bit about what made you finally pull the trigger into going into this food blogging or food reviewing.
Yeah, so just starting off, I studied econometrics, and I went into an IT firm. I was there for 12 and a half years, and I'm at another amazing company now doing IT work, which I love, right? But food has always been my passion. Everybody knows. Why do you run? Why do you exercise now? I run so I can actually eat what I want. However, I've been shooting content from 2018, 2019.
Okay, wow.
I've got 2 terabytes of content which I can't use. It's hard so, and I'll explain to you why. So that 2 terabytes of content was every time I went on holidays. I mean, I went to Disney World, I went to US, I went to the streets of India. And I've been shooting the content, and it was just piling up, right? And I just never pulled the trigger. And it was this year actually in Ramadan. It was the 14th or 15th of March this year. Family was away. I think they were out, and I said, no, this is enough. I'm done now. I'm going to actually pull this trigger. It's going to be painful, and I'm going to do it. So I sat for 8 hours at night watching videos in terms of how to edit, and I decided to use proper editing software. And the next night, I said, I'm going to edit an amazing video. I'm going to put that video out there, and this is going to take the world by storm. I spent 6 hours, and that video launched, right? And I took the next step. And I think I got like 90-something views on the video. But that was nothing. I was like so, yeah, I was like so disappointed. And when I look back at it now, it was a terrible video. I should actually repost that video again. But the thing is, it was actually all in my mind. I was just doing things and not consolidated, and I just didn't structure myself to take that first step. And I took that first step, and yes, it might have not been great, but I kept onto it, and it was my passion. And if something is your passion, you're going to bloom in it. And I just went on, and 3 months later, or 3.5 months later, it's just been exploding.
Oh, that's amazing. So, you know, one of the things, I know a lot of people are very, very afraid. So, for instance, with me, right, it's a very similar scenario. I thought of this podcast quite a long time ago. I had it in my head. I always wanted to do it. It's also a big passion of mine. And, you know, there was something that was always holding me back. For me, it was, I don't know if I'm going to be very good at it, or I don't know what people are going to think, what are people going to say. So what do you think was holding you back all these years?
So I think it was myself and just not knowing what to do. And I've had so many things around me. But you must also remember, right? People have lives. You're going to always have a million things around you. You're going to find every excuse not to do things. I mean, firstly, I run. I work a full-time job, and sometimes it's very demanding, which I love, right? It keeps me engaged. I got kids I got homework at school. I help my parents out, you know, because they're getting a bit older nowadays. And there's always things, and, you know, being Indian, you know, the weddings and the functions and all of that. It's like, and I stay down the road from my in-laws and my parents, and you know, there's just too much going on. And I just found, no matter what, find a time, carve it out, and you will actually make it happen. You have to do that. Sitting around and looking for excuse of I got no time. I sleep maybe 4 or 5 hours a day, but I'm doing things that I'm passionate about, that I love, you know, in every aspect. Spending time with family, working an amazing job, being on the road and exercising every day. Don't let all of that hold you back. Integrate it into your life. Take the step. You might not get it right the first week, the second week, but every step you take is going to get easier.
No, completely agree. Completely agree. You know, I've been watching a whole lot of these podcasts, financial podcasts recently, actually, this past couple of days, and it has that same sentiment: is that you'll always have a reason not to do something. Just pull off the band-aid and start. It's not going to be great at first. We had Fems that was here for our first episode. She's a social media influencer, and she mentioned something similar. She said if you go back to her first videos, they're horrible. Like she can't even look at them. But she said it's something that you just have to start. You have to start somewhere. Um, another thing that I heard today on the radio, actually on the podcast on the way here, is you have to start that road between 0 and 1. That's the most difficult. 1 to 100, that's easy. But getting from 0 to 1, that's probably the most challenging thing. And the only way you can do it is just jumping in.
So let me tell you, the 0 to 1 took me from 2019 to 2025. And when I got on that roller coaster, when I just got to 1, and that 16th of March, it's been a roller coaster. I've been going so fast, I can't even keep up. I don't even know where to turn. It's like unbelievable. So you just need, as you said, just take that first step.
You mentioned exercising now, right? And I find that quite unique. So you don't see a lot of food bloggers that are so passionate about running, like a lot of your videos about your Saturday or Sunday morning runs. But it's not something that you see very often, right? You don't see somebody that's blogging fast food and then toting exercise at the same time, right? So tell us about how you balance that and how you juggle that.
So let's go back, right? I used to always eat, and I think in about 2010 or 2011, I tore the ligament in my knee. I started working. I went through to recovery. And after that, with work and life, I found every excuse to eat, but not to do anything. And I was a sportsman. I used to take the victologerums in the school. I used to be first on most of the races, not maybe even all of the races. And I was like, as I said, thin as a stick and fit. And over the years, I think from 2010 to 2018, I grew from, I think 70 kilos to 110 kilos. I was massive, massive. And there was a turning point in my life, right, where it was my grandfather's birthday, and it was a surprise birthday for him and my grandmother. And I had people from all around the country. So imagine two people over 80 years old. Their living brothers and sisters are coming in through to one place.
Yeah.
It's going to be a surprise party. I need to get the cakes. I needed to invite everyone. It was sorting out logistics. And people are coming from Cape Town and Durban and so on. And on the day, there was just so much to sort out. And I had so many personal things going on in my life. And we got them, we got the party, and I gave the speech, and I just held it all through together. And at that point in time, I just felt like my heart beating. I was out of breath. I was smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. I'm saying a pack of cigarettes a day.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And I just walked out there, and I honestly felt like I'm going to die. I'm going to have a heart attack there. I felt like I needed to go to hospital. So I sat down, had a glass of water, with a cigarette in my hand. And I said, okay, I'm stopping tomorrow. It's done. And that journey took some time, because I started off the next day. I was eating eggs it was like an egg diet. I can't even remember what it is, and vegetables for 6 weeks. But the first 3 or 4 days were insane. I had headaches and so on. And after the 4th day, I got onto the road, and I said, I'm going to do a 5K. And I thought, yes, I'll do a 5K. I ran 200
Very
meters.
simple.
I ran 200 meters. I was huffing and puffing, and I just remember from my house, I looked back and I said, okay, I'm turning back. And I had a decision. That was a decision point in my life. I looked back at my house, and I could see it's 200 meters back. Am I going to turn back? But I couldn't go on like that. I was going to actually kill myself. I'm telling you, I was going to kill myself. And my cholesterol was high. It was sitting at about 8 or 9, which is dangerous. And I carried on, and I walked that 5K. That was the first 5K I walked in so many years. I came in at about 56 or 57 minutes. I continued that for a couple of months, and I got that down, slowly, to 50 minutes, to 41 minutes. And I was eating healthy. I was losing weight. And through the years, I started things like hiking and so on, and still eating healthy. But I was doing all of those things, and I just wasn't happy, right? And I like balancing extremes, right? So what I started doing is, on the 1st of January, I joined the Jacaranda running club, and I didn't join him to join the running club. I joined him just to get a number so I can run in races and not do 10Ks. And Uncle said to me, Uncle Kesem Karba, he said to me, just come and do one run with us. We'll give you the number, and then you can go and do what you want.
Thing, yeah.
And I thought, okay, I was a bit fit at this time. And these are like older uncles, like 55 or 50. And I was a 38-year-old Napa. And I said, I'm going to go and show these uncles. I'm going to go and run. Oh my God. I ran with them. I was huffing. I felt like my lungs are going to be coming out. And he said, okay, just come one more week now. And he tricked me, right? And I went through the 1 week, but that was one of the best things. Uncle Ibrahim, Uncle Kesem, Leila, the whole Jacaranda crew were running by my side, supporting me. I can't even tell you, you know, like I had so many parents and brothers and family around me running with me. And 8 months later, I was registered for 42K marathon, which I never intended on running.
Oh, wow.
I found myself at Conrad, and it just tricked me, and it's been so amazing. And that was the extreme I found, right? I found the balance where I exercise running 6 times a week, and eating what I want. And let's be honest, you can never eat whatever you want because it's there. But I try and keep healthy in a week, you know, do shakes in the morning, have a healthy lunch, have home cooked food and stuff. But since I started the channel, I've been a bit naughty, so I've been going, been going out to do these reviews, and keeping the exercise. I know if I'm eating something today, I need to actually go in and do an exercise or get on a bike. And it's not, my life is hectic, right? It's not, it's not like I can do this here in the day or find some time at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. I'm sometimes on the road, on the bike at 9:30, 10:30, 11. I even done runs at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when I go on holiday to Durban. And it's a lifestyle, and if I don't do it, if I don't do the exercise, I go crazy. So I'm finding these balances in extremes, right? I'm exercising a lot, but I'm also eating amazing food. And that's where I got to. That's what makes me so happy. And it might be, it's like that for me, right? Just everybody just needs to find that balance of what they want. And it might not be in extreme, but what makes you happy. And if you find what makes you happy, it's just going to be an amazing life for you.
No, I can imagine. You mentioned the comrades, right? So we always love stories about perseverance and pushing through. You mentioned something at the beginning there. You know, you ran that first 200 meters, and that was a turning point for you. Tell us a little bit. I gotta ask about the comrades. That seems like the ultimate test of perseverance.
So firstly, I'm a normal guy, right? Yes, I did exercise. I never before joining Jacaranda, I never imagined running 21, leave alone 42, leave alone 90 kilometers. And that first 8 months I ran with them, and I think the most I ran was 25 or 27, and they said, no, we're going Cape Town, book a ticket. I said, I'm not ready, I can't do it. He said, just book a ticket, just come. And I went and ran that first marathon, right? And when I got to 34, I was sweating. I can't even tell you how, I can't even say the words here in terms of how I was sweating, the Uncle Kes and them from Jacaranda. And it was painful, and when I got to that 42-kilometer mark, I dropped on my knees, and I was crying like you can't believe because I was in so much of pain, and I'm like, I need to do this again. I can't tell you, it's like the stupidest thing ever.
It's like people do say that. They say running becomes like an addiction.
Yeah, that feeling when you cross the line and you ran 42Ks. Yeah, and it's been a journey since then. The Comrades here, the first time I ran, I had an injury. I had my Achilles tore and an shin splint. And you're supposed to be running about 800 or 900 kilometers within a 6 or 7 month period to prep for the Comrades. I think I had like 550 or 600, and I was already registered. I paid the registration fee. And I said, okay, let me go and run it. I don't think anyone in the running club thought I'd finish because I had injuries and I wasn't ready. And I was still at about 93, 94 kilos at that point in time. I didn't believe I would finish, right? But I said, okay, I qualified for it. And how I qualified on the last race, on the last day. You need a 450 to qualify. I got 450 in 12 seconds. And I was actually relieved. I saw it and I missed it. But when I went to them, they said, no, you actually qualified. You made it. You can go. Oh, wow. So I had no excuse not to get on that line. I got on that line, and I'm asking myself in this morning, what am I doing here? How am I going to run 90 Ks? The most I've ever run was 42. I'm undertrained. And I said, okay, I'll go to 30, wherever I stop.
It's an experience regardless.
It's an experience regardless. Yeah. Just being there, listening to the Shosholoza and the Chariots of Fire and the national anthem. I think that alone, if you can that's a life-changing experience. So anyhow, I started, I ran by 44, I was feeling okay, and I thought I'm gonna conquer Comrades and I'm fine. And I came to 55 kilometers and my body was shot, right? And I was saying, okay, everything in my body was actually telling me, you know, Riyadh, just stop here. You've run 55, there's nothing to be ashamed of. You've done so well, there's not a lot of people. And then I told myself, no, I am not going to give up. I am going to get there. It's either I'm going to be cut off or I'm going to be dropped, but I'm not giving up. Even if I'm walking, I'm going to be going. And I kept on running. And at 65 kilometers, and this is going to be a bit sensitive, um, I joined a bus, and it's not a bus that everybody's going to be thinking about where you jump on the bus. And a bus is a group of runners running through together. I jumped on a bus, and at about 65 kilometers, my body started even rejecting food. I was throwing up everything
Oh, wow.
I couldn't keep anything. Like, everything was shutting down in my body, and I had 20 kilometers to go. But I made myself a promise, and I look back at this moment, right? I remember I took out a gel and I had a banana, and I just couldn't keep it in, and I threw up into my mouth. And that was another pinnacle point for me. It was a turning point in my life. I swallowed that, and I held it down. It was like one of the hardest things I've ever done. I've never been in so much of pain in my life. I saw my wife and my cousin at around 80 kilometers, just 10 Ks, and I can tell you that made a difference, right? There's no food, there's nothing, there's no massages, there's no sprays that can help you. It's just the people in your mind, because you're running with your mind. And it's so emotional for me, because I got to the 81K mark, and I had like an hour, and I said, okay, I had this in the bag, and I pushed. And I never ever thought I'd make it. You know, it was always my dream, you know, to do something amazing. And I just remember that moment where my foot hit from the tarmac onto the Kingsmead Stadium on the grass.
Yeah, the grass.
And every time I think about it, it just tears me up. And as I turn, I see Uncle Kesem and Auntie Nassima there from my running club.
Yeah.
And they're cheering me on. And they're like in disbelief, because
You did it.
I was like cut and go, and I crossed that line. It was one of the most amazing, the toughest thing I've ever done. I had amazing support from my family, my wife, my mom was there, my running crew, my uncles. It was amazing. Something I'll never forget.
No, that's brilliant, man. And it just shows, right, is that it goes back to what we were speaking at the beginning, right? Simple this, you might not have been ready, but it actually goes back to what we were saying, is that you might never ever be ready. So you might as well just take that leap and try. You know, I always have this saying that I like to use, is that if you never try, you'll never know.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And it goes back to the same thing as starting your channel or starting the podcast. It's something you just have to dive into. I think if you wait to be ready in your head, you're never ever going to be ready.
So I've realized that the only thing that's holding us all back is our mind and our excuses.
Yeah.
Right? Firstly, you can go and do anything yourself, but you will have the support around you. But it's you who needs to take that first step.
Yep.
No one is going to support you. I've got amazing family, amazing wife, amazing mom, amazing friends, amazing. But if you're not taking that first step, there's no one that's going to be there to support you, right? It's all up to you to take that first step.
No, completely agree. Let's go back to, your food blogging. Now, one of the things I actually find very interesting about your videos is you have that sort of two-camera approach, right? Which is something we haven't really seen before. You have one camera that's pointed towards the food, and then very interesting, which I think is something quite unique to your channel, is that you have the other camera pointed towards your face, right? Again, something really unique. We don't see it very often. What was the decision behind that?
So I think through things, right? And I think about what I wanted to see. And every time I see these food reviewers in the channel, they've got this camera in front of them, or they're just showing you one view, and they're tasting it, and they're swapping the cameras. And I was actually thinking to myself, how nice would it be for actually somebody to be tasting the food, and you can actually see the food and see the expression at the same time, because the expression is what counts, right? Then you know how the food is. So I actually downloaded this app, I played with it a bit, and I actually got it right. I've been shooting content like this for maybe a year and a half. But I don't want to go into a market where I'm doing the same thing as everybody else. I'm the Gimba Express. I need to be unique. I need to do things differently, like you'll see with my food. And I wanted to be different. And when I started off, like, the guys were telling me, hey, your camera is the wrong way around. Why are you doing this here? We can't see this here. And I take feedback from everybody, but if there's something that I love and there's something that I'm comfortable with, I'm going to do it, right? And I'm going to do it, and if people don't watch it, they don't watch it. But 9 out of 10 times, if you're doing something that you're comfortable with, the way you want to do it, it's going to be successful.
Fully agree.
And that's the way that the two camera comes. So I thought about it, and I just went with it. And now I don't even think I can shoot videos any other way.
Yeah, very true. You mentioned, you're the Gimba Express and you want to, do things your own way, right? I love this term you came up with in your reviews where you say, I'm going to gimbify or gimbify, sorry, rather, this dish, right? Again, there's a story behind that. Tell us about that.
So as I said earlier, I've grown up in a house where my mom was an amazing cook. So I've been eating amazing food. I can taste salt. I can taste oregano. I can taste the masala. I can taste the onions. And when I started going to these fast food restaurants, it doesn't mean you have to order what they give you, right? You're paying for your meal. You can ask them. If they can't do it, they can't do it. And my Nando's pita since small, and that's, I think, where my Gimba fightiness started. My pita hot, no salad, extra mayo, extra sauce. Muchachos, quarter breast, 3 times extra spice, crispy chips, extra spice. And I started doing this at all the other places, right? So when I go to Ocean Basket, I'll tell them to bring my food in a sizzling platter with 3 times Cajun spice because I want the deep, intense flavors, right? And wherever I can ask them, whatever they got in the menu, I'll think about what I want to eat and I'll gimbify that meal. And I think that's also one of the reasons this channel is popping up, right? Because people don't want to go and eat the same thing over and over. They can go and have a burger at that place and it's going to be the same thing over. But when it brings that uniqueness, and mine doesn't just bring the uniqueness, right? It's all focused on taste. Everything that I ask for is focused on taste and to enhance the taste. So I just love to gimbify every meal that I can. Obviously, if I go to some places and it's there the first time, I like to eat it the way it is so I can understand. But the next time I'm coming back, it's going to be gimbified.
Why, if you don't mind me asking, why fast food? So, a lot of people go in and want to do, more of the upmarket or fancier restaurants. You seem to be more focused on the fast food space or, the more common sit-down restaurants like you mentioned Nando's and Muchachos. Why that?
So since I was small, right, I always liked fast food. I was, as I said, it was a forbidden territory for me at that point in time. I like the oily fried chicken, slap chips, oily pizza. That's the taste, and it's got deep taste, right? And I sit at restaurants and I eat at restaurants, and their food is amazing, right? But you're not going to sit and eat at a restaurant you're not going to go to an expensive restaurant every day of the week. And fast food is not supposed to be eaten every day of the week. You can eat it more often, right? And it's actually sharing what I do in my life and how I eat it in my life. It's no use me coming and saying, I'm going to this restaurant and I'm eating like this. That's not what I do. It's actually an embodiment of me. It's what I eat most of the time on weekends when I get a chance and sharing my experiences. And I do go to restaurants and I haven't put them up, but I'll start putting them up now because, you have to find some content.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be gimbifying the meal. So I'm telling you guys, restaurants, I'm coming for you guys. Be ready for the gimba.
No, I love it, man. We spoke a little bit earlier about, pulling the trigger, right? A lot of times people hold off on that because of that common phrase, what will people say, what will people think? You get those negative Nancy's out there. How do you combat that? Or what's your thought process behind the negative comments or the negative Nancy's, let's say, out there?
That was tough. It was tough. When I started off, I work for a company. I have family. I have kids. I'm part of a running club. And the initial couple of videos, it didn't start as a food channel. It started as a lifestyle channel, and it just migrated towards food. And it got gimbified, and it got where it is. But I can't tell you the initial months where the initial videos that I was watching, the people were making fun of me, own family members, all friends, all people in terms of the community. And they're laughing behind your back and they're telling people around you, this guy is making an idiot of himself. He's making, and also, just from the family, the pressure was coming. And I did some videos which were borderline, and I got a policy. Watch the Pedro's intro video. You know what I'm saying. They were a bit naughty. And you have to have a strong mind, right? Because at one point in time, I was like, what am I doing here? It's like, am I just making an idiot of myself? And I said, you know what, I don't care. These people are not paying my rent. They're not putting food on my table. They're not making me happy. They're not adding any value through to my life. I'm going to go ahead and do what I want to do. And I went ahead and I carried on doing it in the same way, and I got better. And it's so amazing, right? All of these people started rallying around you, and they started actually seeing the value of it, right? And we grew in terms of people, we grew in terms of following. They started, the people are sending you pictures in terms of where they're going to eat. So I'd say people need to trust themselves and push forward. And at some point in time, you are going to make the wrong decisions, you are going to do the wrong things, but you'd rather go and do and fail than not have tried it. And if I stopped, I wouldn't be sitting here today, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would have been Saturday with the kids, playing around, whatever have you, doing stuff.
Yeah.
I would have been watching TV or something. I am adding so much value to my life, and I can't even tell you. I was like born to do this, born to go out and taste and eat food and share it. I was born to do this.
No, brilliant. So one thing I found very interesting. So I was actually telling people coming towards this interview that I'm interviewing the Gimba Express. And a few people said, "Shoo, man, how does that guy order so much and eat so like when you go to a lot of the places you go to, you're eating 3 or 4 dishes, right?" But I actually went and watched some of your videos again. And one thing I noticed is you keep saying, I don't waste any food, right? And I think I've seen that is that, yes, you are ordering a lot, but you make sure that either, I think the one with the food, halal goods market or something, you took a lot of food home and you made sure you showed how you heated it up and everything like that, right? And you got this whole thing about not wasting food. Where did that come from?
So yeah, that's also a sensitive place. When I was younger, we went through a very tough period in our life. My dad was in business, and it was a tough time. And every time I think about it, and this is something that's ingrained in me, my everyday life. We got to a point where, it was bad, right? Leave rent, leave all the other expenses, just having food on the table it wasn't there, right?
Sure.
And my parents, they did the best. And let me be honest with you, that didn't bug me. The only pain at that point in time was looking at my parents, seeing how upset they were, because it didn't bother me.
I can imagine, yeah.
And they did everything that they could, and yes, things turned around. But I realized at that point in time that food is so precious. I mean, I'm not looking at the world and imagining it. I was in that space. So wasting food for me is a big no-no. And I'd like to thank my parents, although it wasn't intentional and we went through that. That's one of the things in my life that actually gave me such good morals, such good ethics, such good appreciation for things that we have around us. And every time I do a fast food review or do a review, yes. So I've been doing the top 10 food reviews.
Yeah.
And I've paused it now because I want to get a bit of following and create hype. But I do order a couple of meals. But every meal that's there is either coming home with me and it being eaten by the kids, the people at home, or if there's somebody outside, I would make sure that, I ask them if they're going to eat that food. I don't waste food. And even though the restaurants, people want to just, where I go to people just want to give me food. I'm like, I'm not gonna take the food for any reason, right? If I'm not gonna eat it, just take the halal food expo. I went to Tikli's and they said, no, we'll give you chops, we'll give you this. So I told them, guys, I'm only gonna taste one. Give me one chop, one sausage, whatever. That's all that you can eat. So I don't waste food. I do eat a lot, but what I do, I make sure I eat. I don't waste. And I think that's also one of the things that's a principle behind me that keeps me steady, right? Praying namaz, getting on the road every day, spending time with the family, not wasting food is one. And there are situations, where you can't finish everything, but make sure that food doesn't get wasted.
No, brilliant. I think especially with everything that we're seeing in the world today, look at Gaza is such a brilliant example, right? Not brilliant, I mean, Gaza is such a powerful example, right? Um, and I think it's something that we overlook. We take a lot for granted, especially food. And I mean, we waste food way too much, and I think that's actually a very good um, thing to have, is to make sure you're not doing that. So big ups to you for that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not only wasting food, right? It's also sharing and doing good things, right? The reason I wanted to start off this Gimba Express was I wanted to share my food passion, but I saw so much power in terms of giving it businesses, growing these small businesses, giving them the platform, people enjoying it, um, people going to support these places. But there's also a community that's around us, and there's a lot that I'm going to be doing now to actually start giving back to the community and creating that awareness and to have that platform. And I'm so fortunate. I can't even tell you how fortunate I am and how happy I am and how appreciative that I have to do that. So those things are coming.
No, brilliant. Um, what message would you like people to take away from this interview? And is there a specific group of people that you'd like that message to go out?
So the first thing I want this to go out to everyone. I see my viewers are from 10 years old right up to 45 years, 5 years old, and whoever is watching on the screen. The first thing is respect food, do good things, and bring goodness into the world. I promise you, if you actually just do that and make your, there's so much that's going to be coming back through to you in your life. The second thing is, the only person stopping yourself is you. If you actually go in and take that first step, you can achieve whatever you want to do. There's no one that can stop you. There's no one that can make fun of you. You need to go through that and do whatever you want that makes you happy. I think those are the two key messages that I want to share. And I think on top of that, okay.
Yeah. Pick it up on top of that.
On top of that, you're going to go through difficult phases in your life. And I've been through a lot of difficult phases, as I shared with you guys. You know, when I was younger, when I started my career, the weight that I picked up and so on, and that was unique to me. I can't come and give you a recipe here to say this is going to be working for everybody. You need to look at yourself, unlock your mind, and know what you want, and you need to follow what makes you happy. As long as it's aligned through to your deen and your religion, and it's not hurting anybody else, you need to follow that route. And I'm telling you, you will be successful.
Completely, 100% agree. This is a bit of a fun question that I asked quite a few of the guests. If you had to write an autobiography today, what would the name of the autobiography be?
So, with me running, I actually got a sock on, Gimba Express Run to Eat, which I've released. This is an embodiment of me, of my life, and what I want to do. I want to run so I can eat good food. And I think the autobiography will actually be that, run to eat, because I was running for food when I was smaller, just to eat it. Now I'm running so I can eat food because as you get older. So definitely, Gimba Express, Run to Eat. That's what it would be.
All right. What's your vision for the Gimba Express? What's next?
Yo, that's a tough one. So look, it's been 3 months in, right? And I just didn't have a vision for it. But what I would want to get out of this year is, like, I was born to do this year, right? I want to go in, meet store owners, taste food, share the reviews. But I want to grow it to see how we can, create a platform for these business owners to leverage and grow their businesses, for me to get out there. I don't want it just to be for South Africa, right? I want to bring goodness to the nation. I'm proudly South African. I want to go all around the world. So I definitely want to do as much as I can in South Africa in terms of the food reviews, share the goodness. And I haven't thought about how I want to actually go and see how I want to structure that, and because it's just been 3 months and there's too much happening. But I also want to be in Dubai, in Turkey, in London, and I want to be tasting all of those food and just bring it through to this channel. So long term, yeah, I want to unlock goodness. I don't have the answer for how it is now, but I need to focus and think about that. And secondly, just taking South Africa and bringing the food back from the rest of the world to this channel.
Lovely. All right, so starting, we decided to start a little bit of a tradition here on Chat EbT. And what we did is we asked the previous guest to leave us a question for the next guest, not knowing who that person might be. All right?
Right.
So firstly, thank you for starting this tradition with me. Secondly, the question that they posed to you is, what was one mistake you learned the hard way that you'd like to share with people so that they don't make the same mistake?
So I released a Pedro's video, right, which was quite saucy and on the brink of being very, very naughty. I won't say what it is. You'll go watch that video. And my view was once you do the content, you release it, and it's out there because it's already out there. Right? Somebody's got it somewhere. Whatever you do, think about the impact that it has on the world. Because remember, I have kids, I have a wife, I have families, I work, and it was a funny video. I don't think it was that bad. When I look back at it, it wasn't as I'm making it out to be. But when I looked at that video, I took learnings from it, and I adapted. Right, take the feedback from people around you. There's people that's everywhere, that's around you, that's giving you feedback. Take them, take the guidance. I'm so lucky, I've got good guidance from my wife, in consulting in terms of what I do. I got good consultants from one of my very close friends, Mohamed. And every step of the way, they're looking at me and they're watching me like hawks, right? And they're telling me, he's like messaging me, 12 o'clock, did you do this here? Did you register your LinkedIn profile? Did you do this here? My wife is saying, okay, but you don't do this. Are you thinking about how these things are? My friends are telling me this here. Take the guidance from the people around you. Share this with them. And remember, you are one person. So many minds are better. So whatever you do, whatever journey, once you take that step, you've got the support around you. Take it. Because that's just going to make you be a better person and do the right things the first time.
No, that's very good advice, I must say. So thank you to our previous guest as well. But thanks for giving us that. Riyadh or Gimba, I can't tell you how much fun this was. Thank you so much for joining. I love watching your videos. I look forward to seeing all that you post, and I really look forward to seeing where this channel goes. We wish you all the best, and I think I speak for everybody with saying that we can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you. I'm so honored. I can't even believe that I'm sitting here. I can't believe all of you guys are still watching my videos because I'm so crazy. I make these jokes of corn. But I think the food is keeping you back, keeping you coming back for more and more. I'm so appreciative and humble in terms of where I am. And thanks EBT for having me here, and thanks all of you guys for watching. And there's so much more to come, so much more to come. We are going to gimbify the entire South Africa.
Brilliant. Love it, man. All right, that's our show. Thanks once again for joining us right here on Chat EbT. My name is Mohamed Ebrahim Tayob, and until next time,